If it's what you feel, my advice is that you show it. So baby, cry if you're high. How will I know it? And I pray every night that my dreams come true. Will I finally be happy if they do? Hurry, hurry up, my days are numbered. This is what I feel when I stand.
Hi Dance Magazine readers, welcome back to Dance Magazine's YouTube channel. My name is Haley Hilton and this is the Begin Again vlog, where I am chronicling my return to the dance industry after 9 years off with a chronic health condition. Today we are talking about navigating the emotional challenges of auditioning. I've been talking with a lot of friends lately who are finding this time to be really difficult. By nature, auditions are vulnerable. We're constantly putting ourselves in a place where we can be told no, and that is hard emotionally. And you know, I think across the history of dance, across the history of auditions, this has been really hard. But something about coming back post-COVID seems to be quite poignant. I obviously was sick for the 10 years before this, so I don't really know what the audition scene was like prior, but a lot of my friends who were here before have said that navigating the constantly changing landscape of this process has been really, really hard. So I wanted to sit down with some experts to get some advice. I wanted to ask them how we could navigate auditions with confidence and how we can keep the no's from impacting our happiness. I wanted to know how we can enjoy this process and do our best and feel at peace. And boy, did they deliver. I spoke with UK-based psychotherapist Terry Hyde, who works with dancers specifically, and I also spoke with a beloved choreographer, teacher, director, performer, all the things you know and love her, Shannon Lewis. She was fabulous. I can't wait to show you what they had to say. Hi, Dance Magazine readers. Today, we are so fortunate to be talking with choreographer and director Shannon Lewis. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Hi.
We today are talking about auditions, and we thought that you, with all of your experience, would have some really, really great things to say about it.
Well, I hope I have great things to say. I mean, I think I do. But I also think that everyone's journey is their own journey. It's very personal. It's very specific to who you are and what you bring. And also just being in the right place at the right time. Sometimes you don't have control over that, right? But the things you can do, I think, I can talk from a perspective of being someone that auditioned for many years, right? And I can also talk from someone on the other side of the table now, who is actively teaching, educating, and also in the position to give people jobs and is actively looking for talented people, right? So. Yeah. First thing I want to say is from the other side of the table, it doesn't always feel this way when you're a dancer, but I want everyone to come in and blow me away. Like I am actively wanting you to be the best you can possibly be and have the best day ever. So I think it's important for you to know that the people behind the table that look scary, they're rooting for you, and to feel that energy and put yourself in that mindset before you even walk in the room, right? That they want you to be successful because the more talent that they see, the better it is for them, really selfishly, right? So maybe thinking that way to even before you step foot in a room, I think is a really good place to put yourself.
Yeah, that puts you in like a positive headspace.
That's right. And so that's where it comes into play, where you can control the thing, where they say, be your best self, be you, no one else can be you. It's like, what is that, right? And right, what is that? I want to be everything that you want me to be, right? Like, I want to give you everything you want. So it's a hard thing to say, but I think when you look at it in that perspective, then I go back to class, right? So I'm an educator as well. You go back into class and in class, I love to focus on process, not result. Meaning that's where dancers start to build their toolbox, right? You build all of the skills and things that you're going to bring into a room for rehearsal or pre-pro or auditioning, and be able to give those things forward. Like if someone says, who does this or who does that? Or like, oh, I noticed that Haley's really good at, style and quickness and sharpness, or she picks up really fast. And that's a really good quality. Like those things are built in when you're training, which should never stop throughout your career. You should always be training, always be honing your skills so that when you're in the audition room and they want something like a triple that stops on 5 or something, that you can do that because you've been rehearsing it in class or you've been working on that yourself and you can bring that forward, confidently. I think that's the other thing that, it kind of goes hand in hand. I'm looking for people that when they walk in the room to audition, have actively been training and they can offer me something very well developed. That's another thing, that yes, young talent is exciting when it's raw because you can kind of form it, but it's also an unknown question mark, right? And when you're looking for people who are have a week of rehearsal or 2 weeks of rehearsal, you want to go, yes, I know what that person can bring and I can utilize that talent in the time that I have. I think class is important. I do think it's important because I think it's as dancers, that's how we build ourselves from a very young age, picking up combinations quickly and style and musicality and different teachers, giving you different shapes and how they teach and how you learn from different people, I think is all part of auditioning well. I really think that.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with that more. Coming back after, as we mentioned earlier, my story is that I had to take 10 years off, and coming back, I remember the first class then being like, oh no, do I just not have that skill of picking up choreography anymore? But the more I'm in class, I'm like, oh, that is something you hone over time. And now I'm like, I'm great at picking up choreography. I can do this quickly. I'm strong because I take class and from a variety of teachers with different styles,
Right. And I think it's good. Look, if you really connect with the teacher, I think it's great to be in that class as much as possible because it will give you the confidence to try new things and build relationships, which is a third part of auditioning well, is building relationships within this business. It's all based on relationships. Now, if you're new and you're like, well, that's not fair, how do I get in? It's exactly how you start. You just start going to classes, you start getting in audition rooms, you start showing up and being there and getting in the community. That's also part of it, that loyalty and consistency are really important words, I think, in our world. And it doesn't mean that you can't be discovered and given an opportunity, but it does mean that that's what will give you a longevity in your career. And it will give you a deeper relationship that someone will be more willing to take a chance on you if they know your work in class or they know your work in small pre-production periods or a one-night job where they got to work with you for a short period or something like that. That's how I like to build my relationship with dancers too. Not every audition is going to go your way, but I do remember people, even if I, am I auditioning for something that someone is completely not right for, if they come in the room and do an incredible job that way, I will absolutely remember them for the next thing I'm doing. I have hired so many people because I saw them in one audition and went, who is that? They're not right for this, but I have a job that is perfect for them next month that I'm going to hire them for right now. So you just never know what you're being looked at for. You never know what opportunities can spring from this one opportunity that may not happen now, or that someone might go, this person wasn't right for me, but man, I got to call this choreographer because they would love this person. Like I've also done that as well. Wow. So it's never wasted time. And it's also never wasted experience. You just got to keep coming back in a confident way, keep evolving, keep going to class, keep making your connections, and then you'll end up being in the right place at the right time, for sure.
I love that. You never know what's coming out of you being in the room. You don't know if it's going to open a different door. And I think that is one helpful tool for enjoying the process and coming back to each audition stronger and not kind of totally deflated emotionally. Right. I mean, it's hard when it's that was my dream job or something like that.
Well, you've got to give yourself time to mourn those things because in order to get a job that's your dream job, you have to embed yourself completely in it. You've got to immerse yourself in it. You've got to go all in. You've got to believe with every cell in your being that you can do the job and do it well. You've got to know that material backwards and forwards, especially if you're down into final callbacks, you're off book, you're ready to dance, you've got the outfit, you have your shoes, you're ready. So it's a loss when you don't get it. And I think trying to just kind of fly past it and be brush it off doesn't always happen when you've invested so much energy and time and talent and heart into something. You've got to give yourself the time to kind of go, that really hurt. That sucks. I'm so sad I didn't get that job. And let yourself feel it and then move forward. Go back to class, find the dancers that you love that inspire you. Go back, find something that you love again and look forward to the next time that you can show your talent. You never know, you get this close. Like in the room when I'm making decisions, sometimes someone's pictures on the table and I'm like, I loved them. They're just not right for this. And so I have to move them to the side. Like you'd never know how close you got. And that's the thing that I think everyone's got to keep in the back of their mind, that, it's a tough business, right? That's why they say, like, it's hard. Sometimes there's no rhyme or reason to why you do or don't get the job. But as long as you're coming in and you're giving it your best, that's the other thing. You can always say, look, I didn't have the best audition that day. I kind of, I forgot halfway through it. Sometimes it's just not your day. It just doesn't go the way you want it to go. And that's okay. There will be more opportunities. There will be more opportunities. And that's when you go back and you train and you focus even harder and you learn from those experiences that you've had and you bring yourself forward into the new experience. And that's how you do it. That's how it happens.
I really appreciate that. It's like, it's okay to mourn it. I feel like having a good attitude doesn't necessarily mean that you're like, I'm fine all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But like letting yourself feel that, but then remembering, those little things, like you don't know how close you were and like you don't know what is going to come out of it. And so keep pushing.
From my performance career, I mean, I think people look at my resume. I'm so proud of my resume and so proud of all the work I got a chance to do.
Amazing.
But you don't know all the times that I heard no. You don't know all the times that I got, they made a cut and all my friends stayed in the room and I left with my dance bag, like felt like an idiot. It happened to me too. It happened to me all the time. I was not right for everything. I heard more no's than yeses in my career, 100%. So I have such respect for dancers. I'm on the other side of the table now for a while. I don't ever want to lose my connection to the roots of where I came from. I will always have great love and admiration and respect for what dancers have to go through and performers have to go through to come in a room and constantly put themselves out there and dig really deep and know that they don't have a guaranteed yes. It makes me love them even more because they're still coming in and they're still doing it. And that's where I think people who are really successful in our profession live. They can live in that uneasy space, right? That uneasy place where they're like, okay, I'm going to go for it, even though I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to love the process.
Oh my goodness. This has been just one of my favorite interviews. You're so delightful. And I have so much wisdom to share, and also in a really positive way, navigating a subject that can be complicated and stressful for dancers. And I think that this will be something that'll be really helpful for our readers, something that we all need to remember, to be buoyed up, and to have like action steps that we can take along this journey. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I hope I can be helpful. And like I said, it's just my own perspective, and there's no right way to do it. There's no tried and tested and true path to success. You have to improvise and go along your own way and pick things up that work for you and cast off things that don't. And, I'm just here to share my experiences. So I hope I can be helpful. And also just know that I'm always rooting for you. When you come in my room, either my class or my audition room, I am rooting for you to be the best you can be and to book that job. Absolutely.
Oh, I love that. We're so lucky to have you. Thank you so much for talking with me. Hi, Dance Magazine readers. Today we are speaking with UK-based psychotherapist Terry Hyde.
I'm a psychotherapist, as Haley said, but the link with the dancers is the fact that age 6 I started doing ballet classes. In my graduation year, the artistic director of the Royal Ballet phoned up the school and asked them to release me to join the company. I spent 3 years with the company, moving up the ranks, and joined London's Festival Ballet, which is now called English National Ballet. I joined them as a soloist, doing more principal roles and solo roles. But after 3 years, I had itchy feet. I wanted to do more, and left, and I did West End musicals, film and television for the rest of my career. And then when I retired, I set up a business management organization to look after people in show business. And I ran that for 15 years. And it was during that time, some of the clients would offload on me after our business meetings, all their personal issues. I had no idea what to do with things like that. So anyway, when I sold the business, I thought, I'd like to find out more. And that's when I retrained as a psychotherapist. So I saw the general population for about 7 years. And it was in 2016 that an ex-dancer came to see me knowing that I had been a dancer. And it was at that point that I realized dancers need therapists who really do understand dancers, in other words, ex-dancers. And that's when I started the website in January of 2017, counselingfordancers.com.
Amazing. So yeah, let's just kind of jump right in. I'd love to hear, how can dancers keep their chins up and, avoid internalizing rejection during the challenges of the audition process?
Is it a rejection? That's what they need to ask themselves. And what's happened in their past that has created the trigger of rejection? Auditions aren't rejections. Auditions are very subjective from the point of view of the director or the choreographer. Or the principal of a school, if you're auditioning for another school. And it is subjective to what they are looking for. You might not be what they're looking for. It doesn't mean that you haven't got talent. It's, do you fit? But if you've been rejected by a boyfriend, girlfriend, by parents, by siblings, by your best friend when growing up, you will feel that in your body, and the body holds on to that trauma and is triggered by anything that is or seems like rejection. So that's what rejection is in the here and now. Even if you go through stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 of the auditions and you get to the final 4 or something like that, it really is subjective as to what the director, what the choreographer likes about the individuals. Doesn't mean you're no good. And that choreographer and that director will remember you also because you got that far and may use you for a show or a project later on in your career. So it's not a dead end. There's a thing in sales training, when you're trying to sell something, the more no's you get, you're going to get closer to the yes. So however demoralizing you feel about the no's that you get, you know that is one less no off the list to get to a yes. What is the reason? It's got nothing to do with you. It may be a protection for you, but that's not the right job for you. However wonderful a ballet company is, there may be some nasty pieces of work, as my mother used to call them, working for that company that may make your life really awful. In addition, do you actually fit into the company? Are you pushing so hard to get into the company, but the company is not right for you? Other than putting it all on yourself, there are other reasons why that are out of your control. I advocate that you should do at least 15 minutes of meditation a day anyway, so that it prepares you for the day. So on a day of an audition, or the day before the audition, or whatever, prepare yourself with a mindset that is clear. And you can use a number of breathing exercises. I'll give you a number of breathing exercises in a moment. But the audition should be prefaced with a meditation. So whether you do it in a changing room or whether you go into what you call the bathroom, we call the toilet, and sit in the cubicle and just sit for 5 minutes and just count your breath up to 4. For dancers, your in breath is and your out breath is 1. And then and 2 and 3 and 4, and then reverse it. And 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. And continue that over about 5 minutes. And any thoughts that come into your head, whether they're good, whether they're bad or what, just say in your thoughts in your head, say, hang on a minute, I just want a quiet moment. So you're not interacting with the thought. You just allow it to go and just continue your breathing and your counting of your breath. Right? So that's a must. Now, if you're starting to feel the butterflies and the tension coming up, you have probably been programmed from childhood to think that's anxiety. But research has shown that the physical feelings for anxiety are identical to the physical feelings of excitement. They really are. So you just have to switch it round and reframe it. And when you get that feeling, you say to yourself, oh, I'm so excited about this. I'm really excited. But you have to continue, because you think how many years you have thought that that's anxiety. So you need to talk yourself into it. Our minds are so powerful that they create the reality in which we live. So if you're saying, I'm not going to be any good, I'm not going to be any good, then you're not going to be any good, because you're actually saying it to yourself and your body believes it. So you have to create this positive mindset to say, I'm going to be okay, because you can only be as good as your talent. You can't be perfect. Nobody's ever perfect. Only be as good as your talent. And that's all you need to say to yourself. I'm good enough for this. I'm good enough for this show. And it'll be their loss if they don't choose me. And it'll be fabulous if I get the job. But I'm okay. All of these little phrases, look them up for yourself, write them out for yourself. It's always best to write your affirmations yourself. But always start with I am. Make it personal.
You don't have to worry. So even if you have worry, your mantras shouldn't be addressing the worries. They should just be, I'm so excited. I'm ready to dance. I've worked hard. I can't wait to show what I have to offer. All right, guys, everyone work on your mantras after this. I want to mention speaking with a therapist as you're navigating these things, specifically a dance therapist, can be so beneficial. I often feel overwhelmed with the understanding that I don't have the education and the knowledge of all of these things already, and I need support. So I'm speaking with you, obviously, to get that support to guide me through that. And so, make sure if you need help, you seek out that help. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. I really appreciate it so much. And I know these things will be so helpful to our readers. It's what we all need to hear right now. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Ugh, aren't they both the best? Aren't those amazing pieces of advice that we can take into our hearts? I'd love to hear what you guys do to navigate this time, how you keep your chins up, how you handle things emotionally, and advice you have for others. Share, comment. Let's get this comment section popping off so we can know how to cope. So yeah, come back next month to see what we have cooking. Thank you so much. Mwah.